Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, and welcome back to another video on Marvel Strike Force. Also, Happy New Year. Okay, yeah, I said this already on my math video from the other day, but I'm going to say it again. Happy New Year and happy 2024, all you Marvel Strike Forcers out there. Today, what we're going to be talking about in this video is we're going to be talking about what you should be doing with your Dark Promotion credits and what we might be doing with our Dark Diamond credits in a little while, because we're going to be getting payouts for Cosmic Crucible. I know there might be another video because we're going to be getting that in a couple of weeks' time, but I want to start talking about what you should be doing with your tokens. Now, when it comes to Dark Promotion credits, obviously that you won't be able to upgrade anyone into diamonds until you get to 7 red. So I want to talk about the biggest priority characters to upgrade to 7 red. I'm also going to talk about the differences between veteran players and, maybe newer mid-game players, because there's a lot of characters that are going to be on this list that either you don't even need to consider too much, or you might not even have access to. So we'll talk about that as well. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. Now, the first thing, yeah, okay, I didn't click through all my buttons on BlueStacks like I did on my phone. The first thing I do want to talk about, though, is like what I mentioned earlier on was with the season and the rankings. And some of you might be forgetting, and yet this is in about 3 weeks' time. But, a lot of us are going to be recipient of a crap ton of Dark Diamond credits. Whether you're in the 1 to 5% or you're in the 6 to 15%, like I don't know how many people are actually ranked these days in Crucible. Like I guess you'd have to find someone that's like, towards the back end of Crucible to figure out sort of like how what you're probably gonna get. I think that I'm probably in the top 1 to 5%. I hope. But regardless, there's still a lot of credits, 7,700 and like 8,800. Let's assume most of us watching are going to be in the top 15%. That's a lot of Dark Diamond credits. But that being said, this is only relevant if you have characters at 7 red from the Dark Promotion credits, right? And so that's why I want to talk about, the most important characters and who, might be available when this actually does pay out as well, and what we should be thinking about. So I did actually do a chart, and I've actually referenced this chart before, and we're going to be doing it again here. Now, I only have the characters that are currently available to buy for diamonds, I believe, are the Horsemen characters, and I actually could buy a 1 diamond Morgan Le Fay. And what I mean by that is like it's shown up in my store. Honestly, I forgot to write it down, and so I forget the cost. So for those of you who might be watching my video and who have seen these, or have seen photos or pictures on Discord about this, please let me know what the costs of the Horsemen are at 1, 2, and 3 diamond if you've seen it. And I believe Ultimus, Ultron, and Doctor Doom are available for diamonds as well. I don't think Dormammu is. No, I definitely, because he just recently had an auction. Apocalypse had an auction. I don't think that's available either. I'm not even sure. I did definitely not the trial characters, because they more recently gone 6 and 7 red for Black Cat, and then the regular characters as well. I don't think we're going to be getting a Quicksilver auction for diamonds next week, so that's going to be happening. We'll talk about that as well. So I wanted to talk about first and foremost, who is the number 1 character that you should upgrade your Dark Promotion credits on? This probably doesn't come as a shock or a surprise at all, right? It's going to be Apocalypse. Why? Because he's Apocalypse. Like, I don't even really need to say much more than that, but he's going to be super meta pretty much everywhere that you're going to use him, right? Like, I say more? If you don't know much about Apocalypse, go read up on his kid. It's insane. It's a wall of text. I'm not going to explain it here, but obviously the more reds, the better. And eventually I do want to get some Dark Promotions, Dark Diamond, get some diamonds on him as well. Now, the thing is that I think that this will probably happen relatively soon. Apocalypse did have his diamond auction. I forget when, maybe like a month ago or so. So I fully expect him to have diamonds available basically either by the time that the Dark Diamonds pay out or not too long after that. Now, obviously, who would be above Apocalypse, but I don't really want to talk about this too much because, well, it's Super Skrull, right? Who's better than Apocalypse? It's going to be Super Skrull. Now, he hasn't even had his Red Star auction, because normally there's a Red Star auction before the Diamond auction, so the event for his Red Stars have not come out yet, so therefore I think this is quite far down on the horizon. So I know that a lot of people are saving up their Dark Promotion credits for Super Skrull when he goes into the Red Stars. I still think you're probably waiting at least 2 months, maybe more, before he does get red stars available there. So because he's going to have his auction event, and then it's going to be some time after that. So just keep that in mind. Now, the reason why I'm doing this at all, so we have 1 and 2. This is pretty obvious, right? Is because the battle pass. So if you are a light spender, or if you're free to play, these battle passes have had a significant improvement to their dark promotion credits gained, which is here right at the beginning. You get 1,500 if you spend, and then I believe it's at the very end. And it kind of makes me a bit blurry just looking at the screen when I scroll across like this because there's so many levels. But once we get towards the end, there's another payout as well. So that is 2,000. So we have 3,500. I think it's close to 4,000 on this RTA pass. Now, I actually do want to compare this to, I'm pretty sure I have a tab here where I started collecting the information on this, and this is the RTA pass, but I just want to, this is from the last one. Need to expand this out a little bit. And the amount of dark promotion credits, wherever it is, yeah, it's not the 3,800 dark promotion. So it's pretty similar to what it was the last time. But regardless, that's a lot in terms of being able to upgrade some of your characters, right? So other than Apocalypse and Super Skrull, who do I think is worth it? And we'll just go down this list again. I've done this before, but Ultimus, no, not happening. Ultron, no, not happening. Not buying it. Doctor Doom, no. So I do want to say one thing. When I say no, and that's largely for the majority of players, but if you're someone who is buying the RTA pass, there are some other characters that I kind of want to point out that I think that would be acceptable if you have like a surplus of dark promotion credits. I don't know how many that you get on a monthly basis. That's something that I'm going to want to track. That's something that I kind of want to know, like if you're free to play, what's the general expectation in terms of how many you get per month? Now that'll vary with login calendars that we get for free, and various milestones, but whatnot. I'm just kind of curious, and I haven't been tracking that. Dormammu. Now I have a 1 diamond Dormammu because of that a Stark Grant event when they did the auction for him, and that part of me wants to get more red stars on him. I do not have the 5, 6, or 7 Dormammu, and I kind of want to do it. Is it a big priority? So I'm going to put here maybe, and that's going to be one change. And so if you are someone who spends and buys the RTA pass and you have excess tokens, I'm not going in the right order because he's more like kind of like the 5th or 6th place character where I would buy red star upgrades for. But Dormammu's not a terrible bet. I think you're most likely going to be taking him into Dark Dimension 7 anyways when it comes to for Mephisto because of the mythic tag. And so I think you're going to get a lot of value out of him still. I would not do Dr. Doom. I think he's a little bit too old at this point. So Dormammu's kind of like 5th place for me. Now, as far as the Horsemen go, I don't think any of them are worth spending your dark promotion credits on beyond 5-star. Now, I want to make this very clear that because you're probably eventually, and I know that they're not available right now because the Scourges have not been available. So for early game players and maybe some mid-game players, like you're not able to get more stars on these characters. But because of the cost point, I think that a 5-star Morgan Le Fay, Rogue, Red Hulk, and Archangel is more than viable. I think it's very cheap. I think that given that we're getting more on a monthly basis, I think this is reasonable to be able to get. Now, do I believe that you should get a 6 and 7-star on them? No, I don't think you should. But I think that 5 is respectable, and stats-wise, if you're going to be using them up to G17 at some point, for Apocalypse, whether that's now or later or, wherever you are in the game, I think you're going to get some value out of this for those people who are going to be chasing the Apocalypse eventually. And, you're going to have G17 of these teams. And while they're not as meta as they used to be, I think still 5 red is more than sufficient for what they need to do. I have a 7 red Morgan Le Fay because back in the day, like they were still a lot more meta than they are now. And so maybe I'll be able to buy a 1 diamond Morgan Le Fay if it's cheap. I think it was like 800, honestly. So maybe I might do it, honestly. But other than that, I wouldn't go out of your way to get red stars for them anymore. So all 4 of them is like a no, but I would do it up to 5. So when I mean no, I mean like don't do 6 or 7. Now, as far as the regular characters go, we have Zombie Iron Man, we have Quicksilver, we have Spider-Man Big Time, and Zombie Juggernaut. Out of all of these characters, I think Quicksilver is the best. I actually think that, once you have already finished working on Apocalypse, and, I'm going to future-proof this and say Super Skrull eventually when he does come out, I actually think that Quicksilver is the next best character. I think that he is really good. He has a lot of value in terms of his, plug-and-play ability. Quicksilver hits really hard. Now, if you're a veteran and you got him to 7 yellow through Cosmic Crucible, like I did, you're going to have significant value out of a 7 red Quicksilver. So I think that that is the best priority for excess dark promotion credits after you've done the above. Once you've done Apocalypse, I would do Quicksilver personally. I think that he's totally worth it. Now, the problem becomes is that for newer and mid game players who don't have access to an easy 7 yellow Quicksilver like people did, when they during his release system, that it depends on if you have the 7 yellow. I think that Quicksilver absolutely should be at least 4 red, which is pretty reasonable to do. I think the price for Quicksilver is not that bad. The 1700 kind of sucks, but he's totally worth it, and he's totally viable at 7 yellow, 4 red. But if you are a veteran and you're going to be keep pushing content, I honestly think that you're going to get a lot of value out of Quicksilver in pretty much everywhere. Like, I'm actually using him in Arena still, and he's punching Apocalypse like he's killing Apocalypse in Arena. I know it's like a hybrid soup right now in Arena, but Quicksilver gives me a lot of value. As far as the other characters go, no, I have 0 on Juggernaut. Didn't do it. Let's talk about the trial characters. Big fat nope on Nova. And I have another video coming when it comes to Nova and the characters that are required for Osmium. And this is relevant because of Nightcrawler recently, that I just think Nova has lost a significant amount of value. I've thrashed on Nowhere and Nova, quite a lot, in the last few months. You probably have seen it if you follow this channel. But I really think that Nova's just not worth building anymore. And frankly, I don't even think he's worth building for Dark Dimension 6 anymore. I was really disappointed with the value that I got out of him. And I hope that pretty soon, maybe in the next patch in February, there's going to be a rework to another legendary that might mean that for the most part, you don't need to build Nova. And your Osmium is better spent on someone like Nightcrawler than it would be on Nova. So Nova doesn't really need, I don't think he's worth any of these upgrades. So now we're down to Black Cat and Green Goblin. And some people might disagree with me, but I actually think that Green Goblin will be worth the 6 and 7 red more once his event comes back around and once we can get more stars on him than Black Cat. I've had videos already when it comes to Black Cat and the arena viability. I don't use Black Cat in arena anymore. That being said, Secret Defenders is very meta, just more broadly in the game, whether it's Cosmic Crucible or Alliance War or anything like that. So you will eventually get value out of it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do. If you have excess credits to do that, go for it. I personally think that Quicksilver will give you more value than Black Cat, and it's also a little bit cheaper on the 7. Pretty sure a 7 is 4,000, whereas Black Cat's is 4,500, so it's a little bit cheaper on that. And I think overall you'll get a little bit more value out of Quicksilver, in my opinion. So if I really had to say, it would be Apocalypse, and obviously we're still considering Super Skrull in here. Make sure that you're not just like making yourself broke. And then Quicksilver, Black Cat, and Green Goblin. You can interchange this. Personally, I'd rather get more red stars once Green Goblin gets his 6 and 7 that come out. Hopefully it's not too long, actually, by the time his next pass comes through. And then Black Cat. So, those are the best characters that you can do. Now, I think it's just really important to understand, how many dark promotion credits you're getting. And I really wanted to talk about diamonds too. And so I think the same thing would follow, right? And that's my plan for the dark diamonds when they do come out is, I don't even know why I went back to the battle pass, but when the payout happens in Cosmic Crucible here, I think I'm going to be trying to get those Apocalypse diamonds. And then I might get some diamonds on Quicksilver if I can get those red stars, because I don't actually have the 7 red star Quicksilver, but I really, really, really want it. I really want it. Like, I think I've talked to people who have him. He just hits really hard. And I think you're going to be using him in a lot of places for some time to come. And so he's someone that I want to get as a priority. And then obviously considering Super Skrull when it eventually comes. But, that's going to be some time. And I think there might be another Cosmic Crucible season before Super Skrull Diamonds even come out. So that's just my thoughts there. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Basically, I think that a lot of the characters don't have a ton of value. Dormammu's a niche one for me because I really want to do it as well. But I don't want to do it in front of Quicksilver. So Quicksilver is going to happen first. And then Dormammu might happen down later on. And it depends on the availability of Green Goblin. But Nova is out, the Horsemen are out, Dr. Doom is out, and most of these other characters, aside from Quicksilver, are out as well at this point, in my opinion. And a lot of people have been asking me this question, so I wanted to answer it here in this video, kind of share my reasonings with you for each of the characters, and I hope that some of this helps for you all. Oh yeah, and I forgot to talk about it, but I'm going to do this again here, just to add a quick little thing at the end here. Where the F are the Scourge events? So I'm sorry that I didn't actually bring this up and I kind of forgot, I had a little bit of a brain fart while I was doing the video, but where the goddamn F are the Scourge events? Because for a lot of players, and a lot of players have been asking me what they can do about working towards Apocalypse, you can't. So nothing you can really do about that until we learn more. And honestly, I have no idea when that's going to happen. So I feel sorry for all you who don't have the Horsemen unlocked, and therefore you cannot work towards Apocalypse. And therefore, me talking about some of these characters might be either disappointing or not much that you can do, in which case I would say, if you're in that situation and you can't even work towards Apocalypse, then use your Dark Promotion credits towards Quicksilver, because I think that's probably your best value, and obviously Black Cat. Because if you don't have Apocalypse and things like that, at least you can use Secret Defenders in Arena, right? So those are the two characters that I would probably focus on for me if I was in that situation. So, all right, now we're going. So otherwise, let me know any concerns in the comments down below, any questions that you might have regarding this. And of course, everybody, until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.